Floating in tropical waters off the southern tip of India, Sri Lanka is defined by its gentle Buddhist culture, friendly people and laid-back way of life, despite its troubled recent history. Don't let its size fool you. For such a small nation, Sri Lanka is hugely diverse. Sand-sprinkled beaches rise to forested national parks, temple-studded plains, and jungle-covered highlands, with the added perk that nowhere is that far from the beach. If you're planning a visit, here are top things to know before going to Sri Lanka. Things to take care of before your visit. Apply for a visa before you go. Most visitors will need to apply for a Sri Lanka tourist visa, except for nationals of Singapore, Maldives, and Seychelles, but this is easily done online. Our advice is to apply a week before your trip. It usually takes 24 to 48 hours for the visa approval to come through. Alternatively, you can obtain the visa on arrival at the airport and it costs $40 in cash. The downside is that there are only a handful of counters and you could end up waiting in line for a long while during the peak travel season, so you're best off applying for the visa online. Bring your vital medications from home. In Sri Lanka, you need a doctor's prescription for just about everything, and medications cannot be bought at the pharmacy counter, as you might be used to. If there are items you might need during your trip, like anti-inflammatories or painkillers, eye drops, etc., be sure to pack enough from home to avoid any hassles during your trip. Mosquitoes protection is also good to have as they can carry some nasty diseases. Get your travel vaccinations before you travel to Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is a tropical destination, so check with your doctor to make sure you're up to date with your travel vaccinations. Recommended vaccinations for Sri Lanka include diphtheria, tetanus, hepatitis A and polio. Long stayers might also consider getting vaccinated against typhoid and rabies. Sunscreen is pricey and hard to find in local shops. It can be hard to find high-quality sunscreen with a sun protection over 30 in local shops and supermarkets, and shops that do stock sunscreen can charge exorbitant prices. Reef-safe sunscreen is also a rarity. If you're traveling to the beaches along the south or east coast of Sri Lanka, come prepared and bring your own. While at it, ladies, bring tampons. You will need a universal adapter. There are 3 kinds of electrical sockets that you can find in hotels and buildings in Sri Lanka: 3-prong UK socket, 2-prong European socket, and rounded 3-prong socket used in India and Nepal. So it is recommended to carry a good quality universal adapter. Plan your trip according to the monsoons. Between May and September, the south coast and west coast of Sri Lanka are lashed by the southwest monsoon, which brings plenty of rainfall and choppy seas, while northern and eastern parts of the island are fine and dry. When the northeast monsoon hits Sri Lanka between November and March, the south and west are at their best, and it's the northern and eastern parts of Sri Lanka that see the showers. In fact, monsoon rainfall in Sri Lanka is quite sporadic. Expect short, sharp downpours interspersed with long, hot sunny spells. Traveling to different parts of Sri Lanka during their rainy off-seasons has its rewards. Visitor numbers fall and hotel rates drop quite significantly. Be realistic about how much ground you can cover. It takes a surprising amount of time to travel around Sri Lanka thanks to winding routes and the limited number of roads crossing the interior of the island. Traffic also has to navigate a variety of hazards including badly surfaced roads and roaming wildlife. To do the island justice, don't rush. You'll need at least a month for a circuit of the island with detours to national parks, ancient cities and tea plantations inland. Thanks to Sri Lanka's improving expressway network, road travel from Colombo to southern towns such as Galle, Matara and Tangala is fairly rapid. With its twisting, congested roads, the hill country is the most time-consuming region to navigate. Hiring a private driver will get you around faster, but will also be more expensive than using public transport. Plan ahead for the hill country trains. Sri Lanka Railways runs the nation's trains, including services on the spectacular main line, which slices east from Colombo through the island's highest mountains, cloud forests and tea estates. It's a stunning journey and hugely popular with tourists and locals alike, particularly the section between Kandy and Ella. Book tickets in air-conditioned first class or fan-cooled second class well ahead to guarantee a seat, either in person at stations or online via booking sites. Tickets are released 10 days prior and sell out quickly. Pack the right gear for Sri Lanka's hills and religious sites. Sri Lanka's mountains reach elevations of over 2,000 meters and temperatures are lower in the highlands than on the coast. Pack a light jumper for cooler nights and early morning starts, particularly between December and March. Also bring a sarong. You can use it as a beach blanket or towel, as a shawl or skirt to cover your shoulders or knees when visiting temples, and as a warm layer when traveling on air-conditioned buses or for pre-dawn safari jeep drives. While in Sri Lanka, get enough local cash. Stock up on rupees on arrival in Sri Lanka, not before, and don't change more than you need. Sri Lankan rupees are hard to exchange outside of Sri Lanka. ATMs are widespread all over the country. Stick to Bank of Ceylon ATMs where possible as they don't charge a fee. Card machines are common in larger hotels, restaurants and tourist-oriented shops. Try to build up a stash of lower denomination notes wherever possible. You'll need small bills to pay for tuk-tuks and buy things from local shops and markets and for tipping. Carrying some cash in dollars or euros is also useful. All are widely accepted in tourist areas. Keep in touch in Sri Lanka. 4G is readily available there and actually seems to enjoy a very good signal. Better yet, buying pay-as-you-go credit is super cheap. Dialog has free SIM cards available to travelers at the airport and offer a big variety of free benefits with every new SIM, such as free data for Facebook and WhatsApp. To top it up, simply head to any little convenience shop. Never underestimate the ocean. Sri Lanka's beaches may be idyllic, but there are few lifeguards and strong currents are a danger. Many beaches shelve steeply and drowning is the second most common cause of death among tourists after road accidents. Seek local advice before swimming in unfamiliar water and respect swimming restrictions. Give wildlife space. Thanks to its varied landscapes, Sri Lanka has incredibly diverse wildlife and is a perfect destination to spot some of the world's biggest animals you may only connect to Africa. There is an air of romance about riding an elephant. Sitting atop its back as the giant animals slowly meander down white sand beaches, or along rushing streams in the thick of the jungle. It's the stuff great travel stories are made of. But the truth is, riding elephants should be avoided because of the abuse the animals undergo when they are taught to carry people, as well as safety concerns. Know your rice and curry. Just about every local establishment serves rice and curry, and these tasty meals should only set you back about $2. It's the perfect option for those on a budget, as it's delicious, super filling, and seriously cost-effective too. Always look for eateries packed with locals, and you're in for a taste bud treat. Tap water is not safe. Sri Lanka's tap water could theoretically be used for brushing your teeth, but we don't recommend it, and it's certainly not safe for drinking. Bottled water is plentiful and better hotels provide clean drinking water for guests. If you do buy bottled water, check that the seal is intact and look for the Sri Lanka Standard Certification mark. Always dispose of empty bottles responsibly. Filling your own drinking water bottle from a large bottle is better than buying lots of small plastic bottles. And don't settle for a salad if your tummy is sensitive, as it is very likely the greens will have been rinsed in tap water. Don't expect a huge party scene. If it's thumping beats, free-flowing booze and a crazy party scene you seek, Kopangan or Goa may be more your thing. In stark contrast to many of its Asian neighbors, there really isn't much in the way of nightlife in Sri Lanka, particularly outside of Colombo or a few of the busier southern beach areas, Anawatuno or Hikkaduwa, for example. In fact, raucous public drinking is pretty frowned upon here, and most of the local life revolves around quiet evenings and early starts, so try to limit your rowdiness where possible. Respect the local culture. When in Rome, do as the Romans do. This proverb applies to any foreign country you visit. At its closest point, only 18 miles of water separate Sri Lanka and India, but there's a world of difference between the two. The pace of life in Sri Lanka feels much less frantic than that of its neighbor. Few locals bat an eyelid at Western visitors, and while covering up is always appreciated and necessary at places of worship, wearing shorts and vests is unlikely to attract much attention. Be respectful of all religious objects and buildings by behaving and dressing modestly. Perceived insults to Buddhism, such as taking photos of your friend kissing Buddha, are taken seriously. Public nudity is also a complete no-go. Stay safe in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is one of the safest countries in Asia when it comes to petty crime. Violence against tourists is very rare, and theft and robberies are uncommon, though they do happen occasionally. As a precaution, wear a money belt and use your hotel safe. Female travelers should heed the usual precaution: avoid traveling alone at night, particularly on public transport, and take care walking alone on empty beaches. Given Sri Lanka's conservative culture, long sleeves and dresses are culturally appropriate and will reduce the chance of being harassed. Traffic is one of the biggest dangers facing visitors to Sri Lanka. Accidents involving motorcycles and lorries are common, and bus collisions, often involving pedestrians, are also a problem. Common causes of accidents include dangerous overtaking, overloading, and pulling in suddenly to pick up passengers on the roadside. Don't expect vehicles to stop at pedestrian crossings, and keep your wits about you when walking beside any roads. Sidewalks are rare in Sri Lanka. Be aware of the rules for full moon days. Sri Lanka has a huge number of bank holidays, and almost half of these are Purya days, marking the arrival of the full moon, an auspicious event in Sri Lankan Buddhism. All Purya days are dry days. Alcohol is not sold in shops, restaurants or bars. The ban on alcohol also extends to other religious events such as the Buddhist festival of Vesak in May. This is one of the best places to learn surfing in the world. If you've always dreamed about shredding the waves like the best surfers out there, Sri Lanka is the place to come and learn how to do it. Beautiful beaches, insanely cheap prices for both lessons and board rental, and plenty of expert local surfers and schools around to help guide you to becoming a surfing pro make this one of the world's best learn-to-surf destinations. The best place to try your luck surfing is Weligama on the southern coastline, where hundreds of surf schools dot the beach, or the Horseshoe Bay of Hirakatia. Other places you can learn to surf on the south and east coast include Unawatuna and Arugam Bay. Take only pictures, leave only footprints. Thank you for watching. See you next time.